Welcome to Organizing Life's Daily Demands. My name is Peter Gordon, and I'm the president of New York Financial Organizers. We're daily money managers. We help people pay their bills, file insurance claims. We do all the non investment side of personal finance. And the purpose of this website is to introduce other professionals who help people organize life's daily demands. And today I am honored to have Janine Sarna-Jones, who's the CEO and founder of Organize Me, as my guest. Hi, Janine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Peter, for having me.
My pleasure. Uh, and a continuation of a theme. Janine and I are members of a networking group together, and she offers a fantastic service, as do many people in this group. And the idea is to share our expertise. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background before we get into your business.
Um, so right out of college, I worked at the Museum of the American Indians, which is part of the Smithsonian, and I worked in the photo department as
In New York or in
in New
Washington?
York City. In New
Right.
York City. It was Museum of the American Indian was originally started up at 155th Street, and it was founded by this guy named George High, and he went all over the world and collected Native American objects. I would say things that um, belong to tribes and all over the northern and southern hemisphere. So that was where I started. And my first day on the job, I asked if I could organize the office because I think it had not been organized since the 70s. And when I was done, my boss at that time said, I know someone who could use your help after work or on the weekends. And so I started helping people with organizing projects after that, um, just on the side for chump change. And I did it for my entire 20s, and then I left when my daughter, when she turned 5 months old, she was started to become kind of a person instead of like a sleeping lump who was super cute, but spent most of her time sleeping. So, that was when I left the museum, and they were gonna move my department. They did eventually move my department down to Maryland anyway.
All right.
So, that was and I didn't find out for 5 years that what I was doing in helping people was actually a thing that you could organize for a living. So that's the background.
And so, when did you start your business? So, I mean, you were doing the work, obviously, but when did you start your business?
When I realized so the woman who wrote the book, her name is Julie Morgenstern. Um,
What book is that?
it's called Organizing from the Inside Out. It's it's a it was so many other people who are in the profession that I am in have read that book and went, "Oh my gosh." And so, yeah, I have a name for what I'm doing. So basically, I met Julie at a meeting. I decided to go to a National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals meeting in 2000.
And what is that? What's the short
That
version
is
of that?
it's NAPO,
Yeah.
and so
And I always think of the Mapo, or the breakfast cereal when I hear that.
No, it was a professional association that I learned about
Yeah.
around the same time But I decided to go to my first meeting in May of 2001, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I found my people." And at the end of that meeting, which used to meet in the Empire State Building, um, Julie had an office there, and she came up at the end of the meeting, and I told her how much I appreciated her book, and I was so excited to meet her. It was like meeting a rock star, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
um, and she asked me very pointed questions, and it became clear that, because at the end she said, "You should come and do our training and come work for us." And her company at that time was called Taskmasters. So I had my own handful of clients, and I worked with her clients, for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, and then I struck out on my own, but I always had my own business. So in 2000, the year 2000 was the first time I put it on my tax return. So it was,
Official.
yeah, it was official in 2000, so it's been 25 years now, soon to be 26 years. Yeah.
Um, could tell us about the services that you provide as lifestyle and life cycle transition experts.
Okay, so for some people who don't really understand what lifestyle and life cycle transition experts are, it's easier to tell them, well, we're professional organizers and move managers. Um, and there is a professional association for move managers as well. So what I can tell you is that as life cycle and lifestyle transition experts, we basically are there to help a person at every stage of transition in their lives. Because,
Mhm.
from the time that you basically, become a person who's got your own home, you're managing your life as a single person, and then you might meet somebody and you combine your homes into one, and then you have a baby, and then you have, a life where your child is changing from being a baby or an infant to being a kid and is going to school, and then from there they become a tween, and then from there they become a teenager, and then eventually you are either hopefully staying together, but some cases not. Um, you transition your life when your kids launch themselves out into the world, and you're now quote unquote empty nesters. So I have a good friend who calls it being a free bird. And
I like
yeah, yeah, she's like, "I'm not an empty nester." Um, but she is like so many other people, her kid is off doing his own thing, um, and in those cases, you need to kind of reimagine your space to reflect your lifestyle as a parent, but who's no longer got a kid in your home. So we've helped lots of free birds basically create an environment that reflects the life that they're living now. And often those free birds become older and sometimes want to downsize. If they're living in a family home, they want to kind of shrink it down. And then sometimes their adult children want to be involved in helping them downsize or move to a smaller footprint, and then people often will pass away and they leave all of their things behind because you cannot take it with you. So
it.
that's basically we help people at all of those different transitions and including at the end when somebody passes away, dealing with all the stuff that's left behind. So all of the things that we do have to do with helping people transition. So it could be a move, it could be a death, it could be a marriage, it could be having a baby, it could be having teenagers move on to college or move out. as young adults. So every transition makes it a really rewarding and exciting job because we get to help people at their most stressed and they often don't know where to start.
Right. And then there's somewhat something of a one of the last transitions is possibly getting out of your home and moving to maybe uh, assisted living or independent living. You want to talk about that a little bit because that's a those are the people I work with a lot.
Yeah. Well, often when we work with seniors or their adult children to help them with the transition of moving into a senior housing situation, because it's not there's in some cases, if, a parent is cognitively, um, has issues cognitively, they would be going to assisted living, or to a memory care unit.
Memory care.
Um, in other cases, they would be going to if they're with it and they have lots of agency over themselves, they wouldn't necessarily go to assisted living, they would go to independent living. And there are some apartments all over New York that where
Yeah.
it's, buildings that are set up for that. There's one not too far from me that has each level. So there's independent and assisted and memory care unit in one building. So I would say in helping those people, we have to help them figure out what is really important to them and what they need to feel they need to keep in order to fit into whatever this smaller space, it usually is a smaller space, is going to be. And to make it feel like home, we kind of identify the items, objects, artwork um, that are important to the person who's going to be moving. And we map it out. We do a floor plan, figure out what furniture will actually be able to fit in this new place. And then we pack it up, move them in, set it up, and then go back to their old place and deal with everything that's left behind.
Right. Um, that's it's a really important service. And when you say deal with everything left behind, what are some of the options?
Um, well, in some cases, family members may want things, so we can coordinate moving those things or delivering those things to the family. We also in some cases, people just have stuff that is junk. It's like, it needs to just go, but we try our goal is not to add to the landfill. If
Right.
possible, we really make an effort to, find, uh, places to donate as much as possible or sell. We have buyers that we work with who are interested in seeing what people have and taking them away and giving a check or cash that we can then pass on to the client or the client's family.
Yeah. I've dealt with this a fair amount of times with clients, and they have furniture that they think is worth something, but it really isn't. You want to address that?
Yes, I think what happens is people because they spent money, real money on something, um, it there's an unrealistic idea of how much they can get. They almost think that, it's if they brought it home and it cost them $10,000, maybe they'd get $8,000 and I've had to disabuse people of that notion so many times because it really is what's in fashion that determines the price of something. And in some cases, like we recently sent some photos um, to some of our buyers and even an auction house for a client who had a lot of nice things and a lot of silver, and nobody was interested except a couple of the people that we work with. But I thought that there would be, much more interest in the activity, but like furniture, it's not easy to let go of. Unless it's from mid-century modern, it's very it usually doesn't have much value after you bring it home. It's kind of like a computer. It's like you buy a laptop and then you bring it home. It's worth less already.
All that dark wood furniture.
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that I was reading something, and I saw a little video about it. Some brown furniture is coming back. Not all
Uh,
of it, but some of it's coming back. And a lot of
Interesting.
it, I think, has to do with the people who are refinishing
Mm,
old furniture
right,
and,
right.
making it look, new. And that's been an interesting thing, but it's not everything. And there I I have not had anybody who's interested in coming by and buying the furniture of somebody who's lived in their home for 50 years, they're just
It's amazing how many secretaries I see that people have the same exact one. I mean, I know my aunt had it where the fold down desk and the glass doors above. That was a big seller one time, and
yeah,
now
we just moved one, for a client, she loved it, it was so cute, it was like one that had, um it was smaller than what I normally see, but it was
that's
very sweet. And she loves it, so we moved it and set it up for her.
so. If somebody has a major change coming up, how would they work with you?
Well, ideally, they don't call us, like, a week before. If they call or ideally, they go to the website. Our website is organizeme-inc.com, so that's organizeme-inc.com.
And that information will be in the on the website with the video as well as with the audio.
Okay. Um, they go to the website, they see what services we do because we do a lot. There's, everything that's having to do with family transitions, to cataloging and inventories, to organizing, to move management, and, everything in between. Um, Growing families is one of our favorites because you get to set up nurseries. But,
Right.
um,
Heard you talk about that.
yeah, it's really fun to do that. Um, but the website basically kind of gives you an idea of who we are, how we work, and all of that. And and then they would fill out the form, send it, and schedule on our directly onto our calendar, an introductory phone call so we can talk about their project and then hopefully schedule a consultation in person. And that's how we start. And at the end of that consultation, we give you an estimate for how much time we think it'll take, how much of an investment you'll be making in this transition, and then we go from there and get it done.
And you give them an estimate at the end of that meeting.
Yes, we can at
Great.
the meeting, but sometimes we need to think about it because we are kind of experts, problem solvers at, um, figuring out what the overarching deliverables are, and so we wanna find that out at the meeting, and then we will go back and figure out all the pieces that are a part of that larger project. Because that's the main reason why people either they don't have the time to do it, or they just don't know where to start, or they don't know what all the pieces are of a project. Because if you're moving, most people think, "I need to call a mover and get an
Yeah,
estimate.
right.
How much is it gonna cost to move?" And it's like, no. That's not the first place that you start. It's often the it's somewhere in the middle, but it's not the first step that you take when you're planning a move. The
Yeah,
first step you need to take is to figure out what you're taking with you, and I and where you're going, and if there's room for the things that you have. So we do all of the moving prep and help people with the
huge,
process. What?
which is huge. That's a
Yes.
great service.
Yes, it's huge. It's a lot of work to go through your things. People often get sidetracked because if they start to open a drawer and then they get exhausted, because they're looking through and seeing parts of their lives that,
Exactly.
it's like time machines when you touch something, and, we do the opposite. We actually have no emotional investment in your
Right.
objects, so we can come in and say, "Okay, we're gonna categorize these things so you can see how many you have, and let's talk about what your favorites are." Because I really do believe that people need to do some treasure hunting rather than
I like that.
yeah, rather than thinking that they have to keep everything, because not everything has the same emotional attachment, and that's something that, my team helps people with the decision making, by helping them see what they have and understanding what is really important. Because our job is not to make you throw things away, that's definitely not it. Our job is to make you make decisions and help you, shepherd you, coach you through the process of making decisions about what is truly important so we can make sure that those things are accessible to you. And the things that are not as important, we can manage that, take care of.
There's huge value in that. Huge value.
Yeah, I believe it's almost, pastoral work. It's, giving people agency over their lives and, um, helping them with decision making.
I love that because that's kind of the theme of this podcast series is all the people that I interview pretty much have that same attitude. A pastoral service. That's really that's beautiful. Well, this is great. You obviously mentioned your website. Can people call you, or is that the best way to get you through the website?
They can call as well. We do have a phone number on the website, but I think it's quicker for us
Right. Yeah.
if they go through the website. But I have had conversations with people because the phone number comes to me now. Um, that may change in the future, but right now, I'm the one that answers the phone,
Yeah.
and because I'm the one that's usually in my office, so it's a very, it's always a very interesting conversation, and people sometimes, especially older people, like to use the phone, so, um, I do get a lot of phone calls
Yeah.
from people who are about to, need a senior move project or want a turnkey moving solution, and I just spoke with somebody, yesterday who he just wants a turnkey moving experience because he does not have time to deal with any of the stuff, uh, that's involved in coordinating his move, but he also wants to recover a sofa or have it, be reupholstered. It's like, "Yeah, we have that." Like, basically, whatever is needed, we have a solution because we have a very deep Rolodex, and, being master problem solvers, it's about having, vetted professionals that we can pull into a project to help our clients, get the experience that they want. It's important.
Excellent. That's
Yeah.
really great. I kind of feel the same way about our business. I just had that conversation with somebody yesterday. She called and she was talking about, um, her tax returns. And I said, well, that's not what we do, but I could refer you to an expert who does that. And
Mhm.
so that's why I always welcome calls from anybody about anything, because I know what we're experts in, but I know what all the other experts in. If somebody called me and tell me they want to move, I would be referring them to you. And
Yeah, I would love
yeah,
that.
good. We'll talk about it. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Janine. This was really wonderful, very informative. Um, I
Well,
appreciate
thank
it.
you so much. I could talk about organizing and move management all day long, so and
Uh,
I do there should be one more thing that I tell you is that my team, I have an amazing team. I don't work with clients anymore because after 25 years, you have to run a business, right? But I have an amazing team. They're so kind, they're so compassionate, and they're so lovely to work with. And there have been so many times when at the end of a project, a client has said, "Oh, you're leaving? You're done? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss you tomorrow." You know? So I hope that
well,
we
that attitude flows from the top. So
ah,
great.
thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, thanks
thank you.
again. And I'll see everybody at my next video, and you can hear me on my next podcast. Take care.
Thank you, Peter. Have a great
You're welcome.
day.